Dumb people. Hey, look, this is probably my first casual, friendly video. Dumb UFC fighters tier list. Yeah, that's what we're doing here. You see, we got our tiers. We got D tier. We got, they're not really dumb, but they make the list. They count. They're kind of dumb. They're really dumb, and then of course, yeah. So, we're going to start with Uberim. Alistair Uberim. Look. Although I am a hardcore fan, I'm a newer hardcore fan. I've went back and watched a lot of old fights, but I not really, stand there for watching the old fighter interviews. So, and I've seen some old fighters. There's some old fighters that I got on here. Just because, I'm trying to keep it casual, friendly, and, keep mostly, semi-popular fighters on here. Alright, starting with Alistair Overeem. Alistair Overeem kind of dumb. He kind of dumb. I don't know, maybe I need to see more of him to put him up higher. But from what I know about Alistair Overeem, he is dumb. He is kind of dumb. And the reason that he's kind of dumb is because of, the thing with the Stipe fight, right? He thought that Stipe tapped to his guillotine. Right, when they showed in the replay, he clearly didn't tap, and then Alistair was like, yeah, that looked like a tap. No, it looked like he was reaching for, it looks like he was trying to get out. It looked like he was trying to get out, honestly. Yeah, I don't really have any crazy takes about Alistair Overeem's intelligence. I do think he's a dumb fighter. His fight IQ is not great either. Trying to go for a Gillian Stipe was pretty stupid. I know, it's deep. I mean, yeah, you're an elite level UFC fighter. If you are going for a submission, it should be deep. But it's like he was never going to get it. Same with Dustin Poirier pulling a Gilly against Khabib. So yeah, it's going to be deep because he's an elite level fighter. But he's never going to get it. It's a 0 in 10 chance. Now, BJ Penn is the king. BJ Penn is a king. He gets to wear the Burger King crown hat. He gets to wear the cardboard Burger King crown hat. Because this man has so much CTE, it is insane. It is insane how much CTE this man has. This guy thinks that his mother has been replaced with a clone. A clone. Yeah, this dude's running around the country thinking that everyone around him's been replaced by clones. He's insane. He literally recorded a video of his mother saying, oh, that's not my mother. They got her. They replaced her. That woman there is not my real mother. And the thing is, she wasn't having any crazy reaction to it at all. She was just minding her business. She heard it. She acknowledged it, but it almost seemed like it was a regular occurrence. I feel bad for that poor woman. I kind of feel bad for BJ Penn, but at the same time, it's no one's fault but his own that he's got that CTE. But it does suck, For the sake of our entertainment, he turned himself into a freaking, So, Brendan Schaub is really dumb. Brendan Schaub's really dumb. This guy thought that he would have been able to beat Cain Velasquez. You guys probably seen that Joe Rogan interview where he's all like, I think you'd be surprised to see how I do against Cain Velasquez. And Joe Rogan said, no, I think you'd be surprised. I think you'd be surprised because I think what did he say? I think he'd manhandle you, or I think he would destroy you, or something like that. But Joe Rogan was obviously right. And Brendan Schaub, retired. But he says a lot of dumb things about fighting and whatnot. The only, Brendan Schaub W I could think of. Oh, he also thinks he's a comedian, and he's not funny at all. The one time he was funny was because of someone who has even worse CTE than him. Well, also, no, when he was, like, saying that, no, the Nate Diaz thing, when he made the video about Nate Diaz, because Nate Diaz was calling him out on whatever, and then he was like, let's get in a street fight. You need to realize how much I'm bigger than you, Nate. He's like, and what are you going to do, Nate? Volume punch me in a street fight? And he said, like, some, like, really, like, cold lines, something about, like, he's gonna go. He would have enough time to, like, go drop his, like, kids off from school and then, like, beat his ass, like, with a Diet Coke in hand or something like that. I'll play the clip when I edit this video. But yeah, that was good. And the other time that he was funny was because of someone else, because of a fighter that's even dumber than he is. Let's see if we can. Here he is, the king. The king. I'd say not as much as BJ, because BJ literally cannot function. Tito Ortiz, he can function, but normal conversations with Tito Ortiz are like a maze. I mean, he can function, but that's about all you can say for Tito. That's why he's not quite on BJ's. He's not on BJ's level. Like, BJ is the king. Tito's one of the GOATs of CTE, but Tito's, the king. And there's a reason why this is, dumb UFC fighters video, not just, like, CTE. It's kind of a combination of both. CTE and just them being dumb people. Like Dan Hooker. He's kind of dumb. Kinds of dumb. You know what? I'm going to keep that. Because it's a dumb tier list, so it should look dumb. Now, Tito Ortiz. Yeah, I don't think I need to say too much on Tito. This guy is just stupid. He can function. He can function, and that's about it. He got sworn in as the governor or mayor or something in a political office, and he could barely even say the oath right. As he was getting sworn in, he couldn't say the oath right. He kept stumbling over his words, saying the wrong things, but they just went through with it. I don't understand. It is honestly dangerous to have a guy like Tito Ortiz in a position of power. No offense to Tito Ortiz, but he is too dumb. He has too much CTE. Way too much CTE to be put in any position of power. They should have done an IQ test on him first. Because he's stupid. He's stupid. This guy's a freaking idiot. And he's reaching for them grapes. If you know, you know. Dan Hooker. I don't know. I don't know why he's dumb. He's just dumb. He sounds like he's dumb. He looks like he's dumb. He's never said anything smart. I'm not trying to make this a roast session, but I'm not even roasting him, really. I'm just kind of saying things that are true. He's got a bunch of CTE, of course, and he's like, I love this shit, in his corner. And I don't know. He's just like he's a dumb goofball is what he is. He's a dumb goofball. No, let's go on to Bryce Mitchell, brother. All right, here's the thing about Bryce Mitchell, brother. I am dumb as fuck, brother. I'm a really entertaining guy. I just went fishing with the guru. I got a farming operation, and I'm smart in a certain area of expertise. If I had to, pick fighters to go on a stranded island with, Bryce Mitchell would be high on that list, brother. And that might be another video idea, brother. But the thing is, look, all jokes aside, Bryce Mitchell's a dumbass. He's fun. He's funny. I know a lot of people don't like him just because, you're Big H. He said he wanted to go fishing with Big H. Okay. Look, him saying that was stupid, but there is context. The context doesn't help too much, but it does justify it to the point where it is weird, but it's like, okay, that's an odd thing to say, but I guess that's fine. He said he wanted to go fishing with Big H before he did anything. Probably because he wanted to discuss things, like certain things with Big H. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, he wanted to, like, discuss viewpoints. And, I get wanting to fish with Big H, before he, but before the stuff. Because, he had he was very idealistic man. And, there are certain things he had points on, a lot of things. He had points about certain things. He did not have points about certain things. It'd be very interesting to it'd also just be interesting to talk to a guy like that, like what's going on in that dude's mind. I think it'd be interesting. And it's not like he'd go, like, crazy on you. Unless... let's move on. I think Big H is like slightly more he's a little more reasonable than people give him credit for. They don't look at the full side of the story. Of course, he's still, a complete piece of garbage and all that, like, but there's, the duality of man, Chuck Liddell is dumb. No, he's really dumb. He's really dumb. Like, he barely even talks anymore. And I don't understand half of what he says. This guy just mumbles anytime he opens his mouth. He barely even opens his mouth. He just... like, the video that I was talking about where Tito Ortiz got sworn into office? Chuck Liddell was mumbling. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about, but he was mumbling. He was sworn in. And then he was just laughing. But I don't really know what he said. Okay. Now, look, when it comes to slurring words, I know I'm not one to talk. I'm pretty bad with that too. But Chuck Liddell also, I don't know, just never says anything of substance. It just doesn't seem like much is going on in his head. It's in big part due to the CTE. Man, that was a sentence. Cody Garbrandt. He's kind of dumb. Cody Garbrandt, he's not as... Dan Hooker's dumb. I think Dan Hooker's dumb. I think he's a dumb guy. Brendan Schaub isn't that... I'll put Brendan Schaub below Alistair. Because Alistair's got that CTE brain. that really bad speech. And I think Cody Garbrandt, he's not a complete dumbass, but he's kind of dumb. Yeah. Some of this is just CTE. Like Diego Sanchez. This guy's got a whole bunch of CTE. And because of that, he's really dumb. This guy but it makes sense. This guy went to war all the time. Watch a fight with, who was it? Clay Guida? Yeah, they went crazy. Back in the day, man. Diego Sanchez versus Clay Guida. That is probably one of my favorite old head fights. Definitely top 10 favorite pre-2015 fights. Pre-2015, I consider old head, right? Once you get into the freaking before the Reebok era, that's old head in my opinion. Because that's over a decade ago. Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy Stephens is pretty stupid. Jeremy Stephens is pretty dumb. This guy just doesn't know when to quit, doesn't know when to give up fighting. Just more and more brain trauma being inflicted on him. Let's change this. I want this video to do well in the algorithms. I'm gonna change that. I think Jeremy Stephens, I don't know why I found that so funny, is pretty dumb. I think, the comments that he made, against McGregor, he was, you TKO people. When I knock people out, they don't fucking move. Right? And this guy, Jeremy Stephens, he's also a dumb fighter. He's dumb as a fighter. I can use that as well. I can't just... I'm not just going to use... You know what? I'm not just going to use they're dumb as people. Dumb as a fighter as well. This is going to make it a lot easier for me. So Cody Garbrandt, yeah, his fight IQ shit. Only wins favorable matchups. Literally never... Like, he only wins favorable matchups. Like, stylistically. Freaking... That's how it always is. Dan Hooker. This guy tried to take down Benoit Saint-Denis. This guy tried freaking playing Dustin Poirier's game, boxing in the pocket the whole time when he's got some of the best teeps in MMA. He's a stupid fighter. Very stupid fighter, Dan Hooker. I'm not a super fighter, brother. Yeah, you're right. You know, that's one thing you got to say about Bryce Mitchell. He's a dumb person, but he's not a stupid fighter. Now, my boy Yuri. Look, Yuri's my favorite fighter, man. Yuri's my favorite fighter, but he's kind of dumb. I don't think he's that dumb. I really don't think he's that dumb. You know, I'm going to put him in D tier. I don't even think he's on the level of Cody. Because Cody, it's more so, honestly, because of his fight style. I don't think he's that dumb. Now, I think Yuri, he fights like a... Yuri doesn't fight that stupid. I don't think his fight IQ is that bad. It works for him. Part of fight IQ is knowing what works for you and playing your game and imposing your will properly. Right? That's just how it is. And that's just how it is. Jeez. Yuri is just dumb. Why do I keep regurgitating myself? He's not just dumb. Yuri isn't dumb. He's special. He's not dumb. He's special. Okay? Let's just do this. Let's just do this. I think Yuri... I don't know why I can't finish the sentence. I don't think he's that dumb. People say he's dumb. I don't really know why. He's not that dumb, man. Does he have CTE? I mean, yeah, he's got CTE. This guy's got a PhD, though. He's got a PhD. He's not that dumb. He's got CTE. You know, I'm sure he's got a little bit of CTE. Definitely got some brain damage. You know, goes to war a lot, takes damage in his fights. You know, he used to fight. You know, a lot of times he fights chin first. Think about his decisions later. So sometimes he makes some dumb fight IQ moves, like with Alex Pereira and some stuff in his early career. Recently, it's been different. His fight IQ is definitely getting better. You know, I like it when guys in their early mid-30s like continue to make improvements. It's nice to see. But yeah, I think he qualifies for the list, but I don't think he's going to go there. His PhD kind of carries him. His PhD carries him, man. And what about how he isolates himself? Dude, I have a buddy of mine that thought that just because he isolates himself, that makes him dumb after he loses. Like, that's just dumb. It's just extreme. Like, dude, what kind of closed-minded statement is that? You know what I'm talking about, guys? Like, everyone has different ways that they like to cope with shit. That's what works for Yuri. That's what works for him. Oh, well, it doesn't work for him because he lost the rematch. No. Just because he lost to Alex fucking Pereira? No. It works for him because he is a goated fighter. This guy's an insanely good fighter. This guy's got a crazy good resume, too. And it's getting better. And he's got a crazy fight style. Crazy because it's crazy, and crazy because it's good. Part of the craziness makes him a little dumb, so he's D tier. The saying he's dumb because he isolates himself is crazy. It's just how he copes and how he disciplines himself. Justin Gaethje's special. There's no doubt about the specialness of Gaethje. I don't know because at least I'm for some reason I'm conflicted with Chuck Liddell because At least, unlike these two, he can control himself. He just doesn't really say much, so it's hard to tell. So he can be up here, but I'm gonna leave him in special for now. Justin Gaethje's special, and the reason is just because this guy's just like a happy dog. He's a golden retriever. He's literally a golden retriever. That's how he fights. That's how he acts. That's how, he's just a fun golden retriever guy. And he... Listen, if one man can hold you down, two can, It's stuff like that, where it's like saying that doesn't make you special, but, like, special people are the type of people to say that, And when I'm saying special, I'm not, like, saying that I actually think that these people have, stuff like that going on. It's mostly just due to CTE and brain damage, so don't take it too seriously. Don't take the special category too seriously. It's just like the CTE makes them special, or they're just that stupid. Bryce Mitchell's a combination of both. But Justin Gaethje, it's just a CTE, man. It's just a CTE. This guy is a very CTE-ridden person. He slurs his words. He says weird stuff, talking about how he's going to freaking, burn Michael Johnson's family and shit. Was that to Michael Johnson or was that James Vick or Cerrone? I don't know. He said something about burning someone's family. I don't remember who it was, though. And it might not have been that exact statement, but he said something along the lines of that. And he just says a lot of crazy stuff, weird stuff, and he's just dumb. And he just, looks like a happy, dumb guy, He's one of those guys, you look at him, it's like, wow, he looks like he has the eyes of a dog. It's like you look into a dog's eyes. It's like, oh, that's Justin Gaethje. Who else? Josh Koscheck. Josh Koscheck is dumb. He's dumb. I want to say he's really dumb. He's got CTE. I don't know. Both these guys have got quite a bit of CTE. Both Chris Lieben and Josh Koscheck. Especially Lieben. Jeez. Just watch, him on The Ultimate Fighter. This dude's got no control. This dude's got no... Or at least he didn't used to. Especially when he was younger. This guy did not have self-control. He's definitely chilled out in his older years. But he was dumb. As a fighter, he was dumb, too. Ooga booga sloppy boppy boxing. Josh Koscheck, typical old head that, for an old head, he was pretty skilled, man, but he was still not that smart of a fighter, I could say, look at the GSP fights, he's a dumb fighter, but at the same time, anyone's going to look dumb if you're fighting GSP. Unless you're a top 5 modern era fighter in the welterweight division, then it's different. Now, Kelvin Gastelum is a very stupid fighter, and he also... What else about this guy? This guy, Kelvin Gastelum. Here's the thing you gotta understand about Kelvin Gastelum. He misses weight, and, not being able to control yourself, I count that as dumb. I count that as dumb decision-making. And this guy, he can't control himself. He just freaking shoves tacos down his throat. Lying about how he's on this diet, this and that. Meanwhile, you go on his YouTube channel, this guy's just shoving tacos down his throat. I didn't even look that shit up, just saw it on my feed. What the fuck? Ain't Kelvin fighting? This week? This weekend? What's he doing shoving tacos down his damn fat ass throat? What's he doing that for? This dude, it's crazy, And if you happen to be watching this and you're not a fight fan, you're like, hey, don't call someone a fat ass. No, I can call him a fat ass. The reason I can call him a fat ass and it not being, I don't consider that to be mean at all. Because this guy is a fighter. He signed a contract saying that he needs to show up and make weight. This guy's not showing up and making weight. This guy's going out of his way to go on taco eating binge challenges. And that's not, because he's Mexican, he's eating taco. No, he's literally eating tacos and other traditional Mexican cuisines on his YouTube channel. It's just the truth. This guy's shoving his face with food and then missing weight by 10 pounds or whatever. It's insane and crazily undisciplined. Dumb fighter, too. I don't even know if he remembers his own fight style. I don't even know if he remembers how to win a fight again. I mean, this guy's going life and death with Dustin Stoltzfus. That's the guy, right? It'll be so embarrassing if that's the wrong guy. I'm pretty sure it's that guy. There's like 3 guys that I kind of get mixed up. Like Dustin Stoltzfus, Dusko Todorovic, and Uros Medic. I don't know, because they all sound similar to me. Anyways, Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold, I think he's special. I don't know, him and Reem, I don't know. I don't know if I put Reem in special. Yeah, I'll put him in special. I'll put him in, he's dumb. I'll put Luke in dumb. I think Luke Rockhold is a dumb fighter. Said a lot of dumb stuff back in the day, and basically just seemed like he was saying whatever he read from a self-help book. Can see, believe, achieve. Shut the fuck up. I don't remember what Luke said, even though I just rewatched that press conference a couple of weeks ago. Because I was rewatching some Yoel Romero fights, and then somehow I got into rewatching a Michael Bisping fight, and then I rewatched the press conference. I don't know what I was doing that day. I was just watching a lot of older fights. Just because I felt like it. And I was, just criticizing older fighters as they do. He looks shit. He wouldn't be shit today. I don't know. I feel like I'm a hater sometimes. A little bit too much of a hater when it comes to these older fighters. Because I recognize that they're not nearly as good as the newer fighters. I wish I could have, I still appreciate them. I appreciate, the reason, I understand, that the reason that the sport has been able to evolve so much is because of old legends like that, like Silvas and the GSPs, and even some of the shittier guys, even, Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonner. Hey, even Chris Lieben and Diego Sanchez, just duking it out with guys. Anyways, Luke Rockhold's was a dumbass back in the day, still kind of dumb, anytime I hear him talk, it's I have to take everything he says with a grain of salt. Just because nothing he says is intelligent. And as a fighter, he's stupid. Oh my gosh. You watch that Bisping fight back? This dude's a fucking dumbass. What was he doing fighting Bisping like that? Stupid. Matt Hughes. I'm not going to say anything bad about Matt Hughes. But he's going in this category. And, you should know why. You know why he's in this category. The thing with the train. Even before that, he had a lot of brain damage, but getting ran over by the train and really messed up his speech. He made didn't make a full recovery, but he was able to speak and stuff at least, and yeah, he's special. But I'll be nice to him because he's probably more like here, but all right. Donald Cerrone, he's a CTE merchant, but he's not special, so he'll go here. These guys are on the brink of specialness. They're on the brink. Let's see. I don't know if I want to. I think I'll keep it like this. Yeah. Max Holloway. As a fighter, he's pretty smart. He knows what he needs to do to win. He's got really good fight IQ. Incredible fighter, one of the GOATs, legend. But he is kind of dumb. He is kind of stupid because of his CTE. Remember the one time there was a video of him constantly repeating the name of a Pokemon? I don't remember which Pokemon it was. But man, yeah, this dude has some... this dude's got some CTE under his belt. He's got some CTE under his belt. That's why he's making the list. The sheer amount of CTE he has, he's got it going dumb. But, I mean, it's CTE dumb. He's not like Brendan Schaub. Like, Brendan Schaub is just stupid. But Max Holloway, he's got CTE, so he is therefore dumb. Mike Perry might be special, dude. I'm throwing Mike Perry in the special. If there's anyone, if you were to ask me, well, who's got more CTE than, like, Max Holloway without it being, like, Tito level, I'd probably say, well, Mike Perry. Mike Perry's going to be like Tito when he's older. Oh, fuck, that's a sad thought. I love Mike Perry. Though he's so fun. BKFC, even back in the day, you watch his UFC fights, he was really good. He was a really good UFC fighter. He was really underrated in the UFC, man. Now, I know, he lost some fights he shouldn't have lost to, like, what was it, like the Tim Means fight, and, anyways, yeah, Mike Perry, he's special, man. He's special, he's got a lot of CTE, you go on his podcast and stuff, and, I don't really listen to these fighter podcasts because these guys are ridden with CTE, and, that some of them aren't really that entertaining, and it's just, just hearing guys that are kind of dumb and have a CTE just kind of waffle about different topics, and it's like, I don't even think this guy knows what he's talking about. And that's kind of how it is with Perry, but, like, he's like a well-spoken special. I almost don't want to put him there, but I am going to put him there. I don't know, because it's just the way that he goes about saying things. I don't know. You know what? I don't know if I'll put him in special. I mean, I got Bryce Mitchell in there, so I'll throw him in there as well. I'll throw him in the special. He's going at the bottom of special just because, like, him and Matt Hughes aren't on the same level, but okay. Yeah. Nate Diaz is definitely special. There's no debate. Nate Diaz might actually have autism, man. He might have autism. He might be one of those cases. Speaking of which, is there a specific guy is not on here? A random lore drop. You guys know that Bryce Mitchell drilled a drill drilled through his nutsack, and like he said his like nut like came unraveled. His nut unraveled. I don't know that nuts could do that, but yeah, his nutsack. He drilled a hole through his nutsack like by accident. Like he left it on his belt, and like a hole drilled through his nutsack, and he freaking like he said that blood and semen just sprayed everywhere, and like blood and semen like. So I guess like the nut unraveling caused the semen to spurt out. I don't want to know what it looks like, but at the same time, what does it look like? You know what I mean? Like the nut like literally unravels. I don't know that could happen. Anyways, Nate Diaz is Nate Diaz is a dumb guy. Nate Diaz is he's like a childish dumb too. This guy's like throwing water bottles at people backstage, starting fights backstage, starting fights everywhere. Like a true hooligan. He's just a hooligan. He's an idiot, very immature and dumb for his age. And the CTE to match as well. Honestly, he's, yeah. I think, yeah. I think he's really dumb, man. I really think he's super dumb. I'm thinking, who else? Nick. Nick is not as dumb, and Nick is much more controlled. No, but he's still special. He's still special. I think I'm gonna, with seeing how this list is turning out, I think I'm gonna move him. Nah, I still think I do this. Still think I do this. I don't know. These two are kind of flip-flop. I'll keep them both. I definitely want to keep him special, but I'll keep him there for now. Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland, he's got to be at least here, but I think he's here. Some people might put him here. I don't really think he's that dumb. He says things very bluntly, and he's got a lot of takes, and, he's outspoken, and so, he'll be caught saying, dumb things, but I don't really think he's that dumb of a guy, and I think he's actually has a decent amount of knowledge on certain topics, when he talks about it, and he is and he's relatively well-spoken. I'll put him here with Yuri. I feel like part of Yuri's dumbness is just because, English isn't his first language, but he's not really that dumb. The dude's got a PhD, but he's got CTE. I don't think that Sean Strickland is that dumb. I think he's kind of dumb, but I don't know, just because he's outspoken and he says a lot of things people disagree with, it doesn't necessarily make him dumb. It's not like Bryce Mitchell. That's different. I'll have him in the kind of dumb. Maybe I should throw Cody in the dumb. I'll throw Cody in the dumb. Oh, Rampage Jackson. Kind of dumb. I don't know. I feel like I haven't really seen things. Oh, yeah, he's a dumbass. And same with Strickland. I don't really think he's that dumb. But, I do think he's kind of dumb sometimes. I don't know. Maybe D. Nah. I think kind of dumb fits him well. But I think he's more intelligent than a decent portion of fighters. I'll put him in D tier. I don't care if that's a hot take, I know. But Rampage is pretty stupid himself. Rampage is pretty dumb. Man, where do I want to go with this? Thinking doing that. Yeah. A lot of this is going to be skipped out. I don't know what I'm doing with his order here. Rampage, I don't know if you've seen what his son got up to with nearly killing a man and, just getting away for it because he's the son of someone popular and he's a fucking Twitch streamer now or Kick streamer or whatever the hell they use. Yeah, Rampage did a lot of the same stuff and worse, Has Rampage killed people? Who knows? But apparently he's gotten close. And, he's gotten up to crazy stuff. He said he's gotten up to even worse stuff than, what Raja did, which is crazy to say. Worse than attempted murder? Nuts. I think he's dumb for that. Young in his career, he used to be a freaking an animal. Not in a good way. Just behaved like a fucking animal, like a dumb animal. Just like his son. And, committed a lot of crimes like a dumbass. Most criminals are dumbasses, Unless they're, schemers. But he wasn't a schemer. He was a hooligan. He was a dumb hooligan. And is still just a dumb person. And dumb when it comes to knowledge about the sport. It's not 2014 Rampage. But, he also is just he's, full of himself. And he acts like he knows more than he does. He's one of those dumb people that thinks he's smart. And look, Rampage is funny, don't get me wrong, but when dumb people think they're smart and they're so confident and egotistical about it, it's very annoying. Tony. Oh no, not Tony. Tony has a lot of CTE and he is special. This dude is special. Very special. He's a very special guy. And he was on an 8-fight losing streak in the UFC, I believe. 7, 8, 9, whatever. Same thing. It was 8. It was 8 fights that he lost. And it was on a win streak in boxing. He's got one of those little gimmicky boxing titles. So that's a thing. He got a crazy early stoppage win against Salt Poppy. That was pretty funny. And at first my immediate reaction was let's go Tony. But then afterwards I was Man, I mean, let's go Tony, but at the same time, I feel so bad for Salt Poppy because that's one of the worst stoppages I've ever seen. Like, that terrible standing TKO. Like, man, if Salt Poppy was piecing him up before that. Like, if the ref wasn't an idiot, dude, I honestly want to put that referee on this tier list because that's one of the worst stoppages I've ever seen. Like, to the point where if you told me it was rigged for Tony to win that, I would be like, makes sense. That checks out. That checks out. And Tony's dumb. He's also a dumb fighter now. His fight IQ is decreased. He's never been that much of an intelligent fighter. You know, always just kind of did what he was good at. I mean, he was kind of adaptable. But I feel like he has always been kind of dumb. And, you know, he's just gotten really dumb over the years. You know, he's out here throwing sand and doing all this stuff. And, I mean, smart fighters don't do that. And smart fighters definitely don't need to do that. And, you know, he's got, you know, goofy antics in the in the octagon. In the ring, you know, he just looks, I don't know, just looks dumb. That's partly because he's just super washed. But he also just doesn't make good decisions anymore. Let's see. Tyrone Woodley. He's not that dumb of a fighter, but he is a very dumb person. He is very dumb. Let's do this. Yeah. Brendan Schaub should be at the top of that dumb. This guy just talks and talks, but he just waffles about fucking bullshit. And my mom's playing music. I can't focus. Freaking girly pop music, man. I hate it. It's that freaking, like, girly, like, pop alternative music, too. Or, like, it sounds like they're trying to do an ASMR. It's annoying. Yeah, Tyron Woodley's pretty dumb. This guy thinks he can rap. He can't. This guy thinks the UFC is racist. Even though, if John Jones is black and if John Jones wasn't John Jones, then, you know, because of the things that he does outside the cage, he would have been banned from the UFC a decade ago. You know, some of the most privileged fighters in the UFC are black. So I don't know what he's talking about. Like, there is no racism in the UFC. He's got that victim mentality because his brain just can't comprehend. Like, and it's not even because, he just has those opinions. No, his brain just can't comprehend that. His brain can't, like, comprehend complex thoughts. He is he's just dumb. He you know what? He's top of the dumb category because he personifies the dumb well. And the thing is, the special fighters are more likable and entertaining than the dumb fighters. You know? For the most part. And that's what I'm kind of realizing. Yoel Romero. I don't think he's that dumb. I think he's got CTE for sure. I think he's kind of dumb. But I don't think he's that dumb. You know what? I'll do this just to kind of even it out and kind of distinctify each category. You know what I mean? Just to distinctify each category a little bit. I'll do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and yeah, I think this makes sense. You know, Max being at the top. No, he's got too much CTE. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't think Yoel Romero is that dumb, but I do think he's a little bit dumb because this guy, geez, those dogs, man, those dogs. Like Yoel Romero he says a lot of weird stuff, and it's hilarious, and it's funny, but it kind of proves that he's dumb, you know. You can do anything when you believe. You were the best heavyweight in the division. You were the best. I can't do a Yoel Romero impression, man. Ever since his second voice drop a few months ago. I know you're probably like, second voice drop, you still sound like a damn kid. I know. My voice, I used to sound like a squeaky toy. I used to sound like a squeaky toy back when I was like 12 years old, man. I've gone through like 2 voice drops, and I still sound like a kid, and I'm damn near an adult. I'm almost 18. Now, Anthony the Lionheart Smith is dumb as fuck. I was about to say Tyrone's. No, he is dumb as hell. He is fucking. I'll be careful with my words. He is a dumbass. He's a dunce. He is a dunce. Give him the dunce cap. This guy just looks. When he's fighting, he has shit fight IQ. Or when he did fight, shit fight IQ, would curl up in a ball like a bitch, give up, fold every time, Like, just because you go to a decision, that doesn't mean that you're a freaking warrior. No, he would just give up and fold in a corner and, just 2-on-1 wrist control, and that's it. Just survive to a decision. So I hope I survived. Just not going to really show any resistance here. Did it against Delidzi, did it against Jones, did it against Reds, did it against Mignac. Every time, dude. Just about every time he loses. And, and even the times where, like, it's legitimately KO'd, he's been stopped a lot, TKO'd a lot, but the times that he's been legitimately KO'd, like, he never, it's like, as soon as, like, he's down, and he does not show any want to get back up. Like, when Khalil Roundtree dropped him, like, he dropped him, and he got dropped bad, but it's like, Smith could have tried to get up, but he didn't. He immediately started shelling, just started, like, just, like, kind of leaned away and shelled up, and just shelled up and showed no signs of wanting to continue. This is a special tier list, not a how much of a bitch you are tier list. I know I'm dogging on Anthony Smith. He's not a bitch compared to the average person. No, the average person is more of a bitch than he is. I mean, that's just how it is. Like, this is the sport of fighting. You're going to be way less of a bitch than the average person. And even Anthony Smith is like that. But in comparison to being a fighter, in the context of that he was a UFC fighter, he was a bitch. He did fold a lot. And it's annoying to see that in my sport. In this sport. Sorry, I'm selfish. I don't want to see that bullshit in this sport. I love the sport. I don't want to see shit like that. I don't want to see shenanigans like him and frickin' Derek Lewis. Acting like bitches and folding. But anyways, Anthony Smith is crazy delusional. He's always, the memes. Anthony on paper Smith. There's a whole, list of memes that the freaking UFC community uses. Because this man, he thinks he would have beat John Jones. He thinks 9 times out of 10 he would beat John Jones. He thinks on paper, John isn't a better fighter than him. He thinks on paper he's a better fighter than everyone. He thinks that he would submit Alex Pereira. Now, I know this video is very long, but I have some more fighters that I'd like to add. Where did I finish up? I kind of took a break. Where was I at? I think Derek Lewis? Yeah, Derek Lewis, he kind of fights like a tricky customer. He's a goofy goober. But even though he's a tricky customer, man, this guy just doesn't know how to impose his will properly. He's got the knockout power, and he's got plenty of knockouts. But if he doesn't get the knockout, he doesn't know how to properly impose his will and put on the pace, put on the pressure. It's in due part because he has bad cardio, but also because he's a kind of a stupid fighter, and he doesn't really know properly what to do. He's got bad fight IQ. And as a person, he's a miscreant, He's out here driving his freaking supercar at 170 miles an hour or whatever. And it's just, just stupid shit. So it's you're kind of dumb. You're rich, you can afford to get a private racetrack or something, And it's mostly speeding crimes and stuff. And I think he's got some other stuff. on his record, but it's all stuff that could easily be avoided. So, yeah, I just think he's kind of dumb. Who else did I add? I added Johnny Walker. I think Johnny Walker's dumb, but I don't think he's that dumb. I don't think he's special. I don't think he's special. He speaks another language, man, and I think he's just really funny. I think he's funny, but his fight style makes him dumb. And, like, you know he's got to be dumb when he's just a goofball and he's a funny guy. So that in its own doesn't make it dumb. But he does have a lot of CTE, and he just has that CTE-ness to him where it's just like, you look at him and it's just like, He just looks like the type of kid. Like, you look at him and you just imagine the picture of Islam Makhachev with the face. Oh, by the way, Makhachev would be in the special category. Makhachev would be in the special category, for sure. Now, the thing is, in a way, you can be more dumb in the dumb than in the special. Because there's multiple factors, there's more of a factor of just being purely dumb to be in the special. Like, if you were to ask me who's more inherently a dumb person between, like, Brendan Schaub and Mike Perry, I'd be like, oh, Brendan Schaub, he says a lot of stupid shit. But it's like, who is intellectually smarter, objectively? Brendan Schaub, right? Who is closer to being on the spectrum because of their brain damage? Mike Perry. You know what I mean? It's things like that. And, Johnny Walker, he kind of fights stupid. He fights really stupid. He's a tricky customer. He's a goofy goober like Derek Lewis, but he's just even dumber. He's really dumb with his fight style. This guy gets cracked hard. With the way he gets knocked out cold, it's like, you can't be a smart individual and get knocked out like that. Like, what the hell? He gets hit so clean. So clean. This dude does not know how to roll with shots well. At all. He takes shots so terribly, dude. It's like, he takes shots like a guy who's not a UFC fighter. Like, he takes shots like, it's crazy. As a fighter, you learn how to roll with shots, and, the shots start to slip off better. And you even learn that as, like, an amateur, like myself. But Johnny does not do any of that. He never rolls with any shots, barely defends himself. Jorge Masvidal is a miscreant, freaking hooligan. Just another one of these dumb hooligans from a fucking ghetto. I don't know where he's from, but he just behaves like a dumb person. Yeah. He just behaves like a dumb person. Does dumb stuff, in public. Behaving like just foolishly. It's like, there's no need for that. Greg Hardy, he's... he gets up to stuff outside the cage, and, it's just stupid stuff. The dude can't control himself, If you know, with Greg Hardy. Plus, he brought an inhaler into the octagon. That was strange. You could say, oh, but he needs that to breathe. Yeah, but you're not allowed to use it in the octagon. Even if you don't have asthma, it can rejuvenate you, right? You're not allowed to use enhancers in the octagon. Yeah, I know, because he has asthma, all it'll do is just put him on the level of a normal person. I don't know if I can agree with that, because I think it would just rejuvenate him, and he, wouldn't really be that tired. I think he'd be, definitely have more energy than, I think it would rejuvenate him too much, So I definitely, it's just stupid thinking that you could get away with that. Because even though there's an argument to it being allowed, you really think of, a pro organization. If you think about it for 2 seconds, do you really think a pro organization would allow that? No. No, of course not. Before the fight, after the fight, yeah, it's cool. During the fight, dude, what are you doing? On the stool? You should have known. You should have known. And as I said, I understand the argument for why it should be allowed. I just disagree with it. Wanderlei Silva. He's a dumb idiot who can't control himself, and I love Wanderlei Silva. But you see the way this guy behaves. You see, how he was in The Ultimate Fighter with Chael Sonnen. He just can't control himself. He just has to fight. He just has to behave like a dumb idiot. Who else? Merab Dvalishvili. This is the last guy. I think Merab is dumb. I think Merab's dumb. I really do. I don't think he's super dumb. There is an English thing. He speaks a lot of English. He speaks English a lot, but at the same time, it still isn't his native language. I don't know. I don't really think he can have that excuse. He's been in the States for like a decade, for years and years, and he's been speaking English for years and years. So I think part of his speech is, it's not his first language, but also, with the way he talks, I think he's dumb. And I think one more thing, guys. One more thing. I go and I jump head first into lake and crack my head open, guys. I'm so smart, guys. I'm so smart. Right? This guy freaking dove head first into ice, into a lake. The lake was fully frozen over, and he dove head first into that ice. And what did he do? Well, he broke open his head. He had to get stitches on his head because he dove head first into ice because he's a dumbass. Right? You'd only do that when you're a dumb. Like, why would you do that? It's straight ice. Yeah, there's water underneath it, but why would you dive into ice? You're gonna crack your head open. And that's what he did. He was like, oh shit, I'm so fucking stupid, or whatever he said. And he's right. He is stupid. But he's not super stupid. He's not super stupid, but he's stupid. And I think I'm satisfied with this list. This is a very long video. I'm not a fan of that. I need to find a way to shorten my rants. But this is a lot of fighters to get to, man. A lot of fighters to get to. Now I need to remember what other video I was planning on making.